Today I'd like to introduce Meghan. Meghan's a mum of 7. I take my hat off to Meghan. What's that like?
Oh, life's always busy.
Busy.
But you need a vehicle to carry everyone in as well. So
Exactly. So obviously you were in the market for a people mover.
yes,
You bought brand new in 2017.
yes.
You opted for the Mercedes Valente we've got here. At the time, did you consider any of the other options out there?
So at the time we were looking to purchase at the end of 2016. We had a Honda Odyssey.
Yep.
And at the time we had 5 children. So we could get bums on seats per se. But as you know, if you've got a family, it's all the other stuff that you've got to put in there.
Absolutely.
And the lease was coming to the end of that, so we started looking. At the time, there just simply wasn't a lot in the market. There was the VW multivan, and there was the Kia Carnival, and there was this car. So really just 3 vehicles to choose from. We weren't keen on the VW, and also price-wise, I think it just sort of put itself out of the market.
Sure.
And then it was pretty much down to a Kia Carnival or the Mercedes Valente. Price-wise, top of the range Kia was pretty much the same as the Mercedes, but the middle seat of the Kia Carnival is really not a full seat size.
Yeah. In the middle row, centre seats.
Yeah, the centre seats in both of them. I did drive one for about a week when I had this one in the shop.
Yep.
And I hated it.
Sure.
It just didn't have as much space. I felt every bump on the road. I felt that the doors were just tingy. Whereas this one, I couldn't wait to jump back in it. The doors were solid. It's just a great ride.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And what were you saying price-wise, around about?
So Mercedes are a little bit different because this is basically the commercial Vito. So under the bonnet body, it's all the commercial. But Mercedes have done this one as its passenger version. So people will buy them still for businesses. Airport transfer services will also buy them, as well as just people wanting to use them to fit a lot of stuff and a lot of people in.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it's built for. So basically the sales rep will say, look, this is your stock standard price. What are the other options you wanted? So I wanted the automatic sliding doors are just a must when you've got a car. A car this size, you've got kids, you've got shopping, you just want to be able to press a button, the doors open, you either let the hot air out, everyone else can get loaded. It's just one thing. So that was just an absolute must for me.
Yep. Also, there is the V-Class, the V220, the V250.
Yep.
Were they considerations for you at all at the time?
No, so I think the V250 just prices itself out. I'm not actually sure what you get. Apart from leather seats, perhaps the inner console sort of got the fancy sort of flip navigation system. Essentially, this is just still the same. Underneath the bonnet, it's the same. It's just the same car with just a few fancy stuff. It's just not worth the price tag. Yeah. Since that time, Mercedes, for the latest Valente, they've tried to style it up a bit because it is fairly, the dash is fairly basic. I think, they've tried to go a bit more fancy with the wheels, just sort of styling. But overall, I just feel that this vehicle, it's stylish on its own anyway. Yep.
All right, well, let's move on from a practical point of view.
Yep.
So you touched on the sliding doors. They're great to have.
Yep.
How about the seating inside?
So you can fit 6 full-size adults with plenty of space and plus your additional boot space.
There is a good amount of space in the back.
Yep. So each seat is fitted with the ISO straps, or you could fit 6 car seats if you wanted to. And the seat moves fine with car seats in it. You don't have to worry about having a narrow car seat in the middle. There's plenty of space. Yep.
And getting in and out, still pretty easy for the kids?
It's a lot of, say the Kia will have the slide. The Odyssey had the slide forward.
Yep.
This one, it's a fold. So the seats are perhaps a little bit heavier, but it's a very quick fold up. And I also find for getting in the back, it then creates a lot more space.
Yeah. I saw you do that earlier. So it tumbles forward, but it's not that heavy to do.
No. And sometimes you find, especially with the Odyssey, with the slide forward, having kids and food and just stuff, sometimes that mechanism can get a bit jammed or it can be a bit harder. So I feel like
In the tracks.
in the tracks, yeah, it's just an extra thing that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kids just climb over the top anyway, don't they?
I try not to get them to climb all over the seats, but it's invariable. And then the good thing about it, all the rear of the seats are solid plastic. So you can fold everything down. You could put anything in it and it's just sort of an instant protection. It's also a bit of protection with, you know, people kicking seats, just the scrapes and just life. But you've got, it's a solid protection on it, which it's really useful.
And you optioned in the ninth seat.
Yeah, so that was definitely a winner for my husband. I looked at a demo vehicle initially, and the standard is just the 8 seats, but for an extra $600, you could get your 9th seat.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like a no-brainer just to have that extra seat.
Well, it's coming handy now.
Which was lucky for us because now we have 7, and if you've got 7 children, there just isn't a lot of stuff. You're going to have to go to something much bigger again. With this one, you didn't have to. Sometimes you can fit that full adult in there. Sometimes I find just a bit of the elbow room. You know, you can sort of, if you've parked on a busy road, there's plenty of interior space for you to slide across the driver's seat and get out if that's the safest.
It's a good option to have. Yep. So the Valente seems to offer quite a bit of luggage space.
Yeah, so I would say it's got at least a decent amount in behind it.
Which you can adjust if you slide the seats.
Yeah, you can slide your seats forward. You can roll the seats forward as well if you don't want to go to the hoo-ha of taking them out. You can still roll everything forward. Yep. If you're butting something up like a piece of furniture, it'd be safe enough to then move it around.
And in the past you're telling me you can pull all the seats out. So you've essentially got a commercial van.
Yes. Yep.
You get a level floor left behind.
Yeah, so it's just a blank cabin really. You can fit a whole entire lounge suite in there and plus a ton of other stuff.
I noticed that the V-Class, it has a shelf, so it divides the luggage space into 2. Yep. Didn't get included in the Valente.
You can buy the accessories to fit, but I just chose not to. I just like having that blank space.
And the tailgate? It's
not heavy. I'm not sure what they've done to it, but if I left the boot up for a long period of time, I can feel that weight. But if it's, you've just popped it up for 10 minutes and you're closing it, it's got a lever and it's very easy to do. Even my kids can do it. It's not heavy.
So you're not missing the power tailgate too much?
No, and I would feel, I think on the V250 you can get that as an option, but it would definitely, given the weight of the tailgate, it'd definitely be chewing into your battery, and it's just not an issue that you really need. Yeah.
From a performance point of view, I know that the engine is a 2.1 litre turbo diesel 4-cylinder engine, 120 kilowatts and 380 newton meters of torque, I believe. So it comes in 2 tunes. So I know the V250's got a higher tune, so a bit more power and torque. But what do you think about performance?
Look, it is a heavy vehicle. It is a bigger vehicle to drive. You don't buy one of these vehicles to be quick off the mark. You do have to put your foot down a little bit more. But having said that, it does have the power. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really, really comfortable vehicle to drive, especially long distance. It's designed for someone to be driving all day, every day. So someone who was driving this commercially would be in the car all day. The engine would be driving all day. True. Mercedes' slogan is born to run. It's just designed to just be run all day, every day, without missing a beat.
And what about from an economy point of view? So the official combined figure is 6.6 from Mercedes. Yep. You worked out a bit of that for me. It looks like you're averaging around 10 or just under?
Yeah, just under 10. And I just do generally city driving. We're a little bit further out, so I'm driving country roads a lot. And yeah, I'm just doing about the 9.
Tell me about Adblue, for those who don't know about it. Yep. So you need to add Adblue to this car. Yes, so that's to help bring emissions down. So do you need to top that up on your own, or is that something that's done at servicing time?
So when you take it in for a service, that's something they will check. But no, warning just comes on the dash, please add Adblue. You've got so many kilometres to do it. And yeah, it's very easy just to do it yourself.
And cost-wise, does it add much to your fuel bill?
No, I think to buy a 10-litre bottle of Adblue, it's about $45 tops, and you don't have to do it very often.
You can get several thousand kilometres, I think, out of each 10-litre batch of Adblue. Okay, let's talk about running costs. Yep. So in Australia, in German cars, we tend to think they cost more to run. Overall, would you say that?
Yeah, generally, if you're buying any European vehicle, it's going to cost you more. It's going to cost you more in parts. It's going to cost you a bit more in servicing. Yep. I think you just need to understand that's just going to be a reality. And
you shared your last couple of services with me, so the paperwork. So that was good to have a look at. Your last one was a B service, which so a major service, and what other manufacturers call it. Yep. So that cost you close to $1,500.
Yeah, I didn't have much change out of $1,500. Yep.
So in isolation, that seems like quite a lot. Yep. But then the servicing interval for Mercedes is...
So because it's a commercial vehicle, their servicing interval is 2,500, which is big.
25,000.
25,000, yep. So that's a big service interval.
12 months.
Or 12 months. So for me, it's once every 12 months, yep.
And I had a look at the breakdown. So I guess the A service or the minor service comes to around 600 to 700. Yep. And that's your standard sort of engine oil and filter change. And I guess if you compare it to other makes, for Toyota, for example, where you're doing it 6 monthly, we pay around $250 for our Toyota, but you're doing that twice a year. So it brings it a lot closer. Yeah,
so I think you'd have to do your sums. I mean, obviously, I always take it back to Mercedes. I take it back to Commercial Van Centre. They'll give me a loan car for the day. It doesn't cost me anything. This car, unfortunately, only had 3 years warranty. They've now upped that to 5 to make themselves competitive. And I believe they've also gone to the cap price servicing. But having said that, Mercedes remember that their point of difference is customer service. A lot of manufacturers, I think, have forgotten that. Mercedes haven't. I've always been very well looked after.
And issues under warranty? So you're out of warranty now.
Yep.
But during the warranty period, I think you showed me you had a minor oil leak from the EGR valve. Yep. It looked like quite a simple fix. They had to replace one of the gaskets, and they sorted that out for you?
Yeah, they picked it up and they just sorted it out. I also was complaining about a sticky brake buckle. I just thought, maybe just WD or something, but they said, no, it's a safety issue, and they couried the part in overnight. And got it done. I was able to keep the loan vehicle overnight. There was no haggling, no nothing. They were just, we'll replace it. Process was very smooth. They got it done really quickly.
And other maintenance items, so you touched on brakes. Yep. And you mentioned Mercedes using softer brake pads, and I have heard that.
Yeah, I think that's consistent across the Mercedes range, a softer brake pad. First set of brake pads, I did it almost just under 27,000 kilometres, which isn't a lot.
It's in quite early.
Yep. It's now done almost 67,000, and I'm due for rear brake pads, again being that rear wheel drive.
That's a better mileage though. That's been 40 odd thousand since last time around.
Yeah. So not too bad.
I think the argument is they you get a better feel.
It's about performance. They tell me that they're a performance pad.
And the brake dust is a trade-off. You just got to clean your wheels more often.
Yes, and the brake dust is atrocious, yes, but you've got to keep them clean.
From a tech point of view inside, how do you work the screen here? I've read complaints about it not being a touch screen.
It's basic, which I like because I know exactly what all the buttons do. If you've, say, driven a Land Rover or a Volvo, there's 3,000 buttons. You don't even know what half of them do. Mm-hmm. Here you know exactly what they all do. You can control the automatic doors, which is great. You've got all your air conditioning knobs. For me, you could have upgraded. I think at the time it was going to be an extra $3,000 to get a nav in there, which I thought was ridiculous because, everyone just uses their phones these days. So I don't feel that it's a big issue.
The maps tend to be more up to date in your phone in any case.
Exactly. So in the new Valente, which I actually drove the other week when I went in for a service, this is all colour, it's all touchscreen, and even the clarity of the reversing camera was much better.
So they made that change.
Yeah, so I think it's just showing its age. It's 2017. But yeah, Mercedes have made this a bit more fancy, a bit more styled. But for me, it's, you know, it does everything it needs to do. And then obviously the paddle shift is a little bit different. Being European, the indicators are on this side.
Yep.
So
you soon get used to that.
If it's not your everyday drive, yeah, you have to think which side they're on. It is good because with the paddle shift, it's right here. You know, you can put it into, it's not down here somewhere, and you can easily pop it back into reverse very quickly. It does have the foot brake. It does have the pull to take it off the park, which some reviewers have bagged, but it's really not an issue. You can put your windscreen wipers on automatic. I just keep them on automatic. Lights go in automatic. It's got its park sensors everywhere. Yeah, there's a lot of tech on board.
And with all the kids, you know, durability is a thing for me.
Yep.
Do you think the interior's held up pretty well?
The new Valente can get with leather seats, and I think if I was buying it again, I would do that. Having said that,
makes it easier wiping up the spills and things, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I did get fabric protection put on when I bought the vehicle, so that's definitely helped. I do like the fact that all the rear seats, the backing is all plastic. Kids are climbing over seats, they're not going to get ruined.
Can the kids kick the backs of the seats too?
Yeah, people.
Mine do that.
Yep.
Yeah,
kids kick the back of the seats. They do all that, so it's very
pretty durable.
It's durable because it's supposed to be. Again, its roots are just. It's a commercial van.
Okay, Megan. So let's wrap things up. So I can see you're pretty into your cars. Your dad must have rubbed off on you.
Yeah, I spent a lot of my childhood watching my dad purchase vehicles for other people, purchase vehicles for himself. Yeah, well, Anthony did our RAV4 video, and that's been our most popular. It did. So yeah, the challenge is there now.
All right, now thinking back to 2017, you had the 5 kids back then.
Yep.
If you were doing it over again, would you purchase the same car?
Yes, we definitely would.
So you would recommend it to current buyers out there, you know, with bigger families?
Yeah, definitely.
Looking for a people mover?
Yeah, definitely don't try and squeeze, you know, everything into an SUV. If you want to take a lot of people comfortably, because invariably once you've got kids and I'm often taking other kids.
Absolutely.
And then yeah, everyone just piles in and has a great time.
Looking forward for you guys. Yep. So with the 7 kids now.
Yep.
What are your options? Are you going to hang on to this one, or do you need to look elsewhere?
We do need to do a wheelchair modification. I simply won't be able to carry, you know, as many people plus a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. So I think we will unfortunately have to let go of the vehicle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely thoroughly recommend if you want a people mover. Yep.
Okay. And as always, how about a score out of 10?
I would probably give it an 8.5 out of 10, mainly because obviously there's the servicing costs of it. And obviously down the track parts, that would just be something you'd need to factor in. And perhaps it's just not as responsive as maybe it could be. You do have to put your foot down a little bit, which you don't actually do in the V250.
Yeah, with the extra tune.
Just with the extra tune. So maybe they could just maybe beef the engine up a little bit. But for everyday driving, look, you're not going to notice it.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks very much for coming on today.
Yep.
It was most informative, and it sounds like it's been a good car for you guys.
Yeah, and it's reliable. Yeah, it's always never missed a beat.
That's the main thing.
Yep.
All right, thanks again.
Thank you.